Our next guest says the Wisconsin recall will have national implications. The future of unions in this country are at stake. Joining us now, Fox News political analyst Juan Williams. Great to see you.
Thank you, Lou.
This, as we look at those exit polls, this thing is every bit as tight as was forecast.
It's in fact, it's tighter than the 2010 race. And that tells you how tight it is. And some amazing things in there. One is the level of turnout. Unbelievable. These are historic highs, high 60% of people in the state who will vote today. We've never seen anything like this in terms of a gubernatorial race.
And as we look at Governor Walker, and as we've reported on this broadcast, this governor has eliminated a $3.6 billion deficit. He has a stated position for a $150 million surplus. He's done so without firing a single state employee. Yet this seems to be of no moment to those Wisconsinites, principally Democrat, principally union-driven and oriented, or members. Why is that?
Well, I think there are two things to say, and one of it, Lou, for you and me, it may be a little bit mysterious, but when you look at the numbers, people in the state say they've never seen the state so polarized. They're not accustomed to Wisconsin being what someone said today is a petri dish for national politics. And right now, you have tremendous forces on either side, not only of the union issue, but Republican, Democrat, prospectively, Romney, Obama, all on display in the state. Tremendous infusion of money from outside the state. I think it's caused some disquiet, and similarly, people argue about the way in which Walker went about it. If you look at the numbers that you just put up on the screen, Lou, you know what? When you ask people about this, you get about that 39–40% number that you saw that say they approve of his handling of collective bargaining. And if you specifically ask about reductions in terms of property taxes and the like, as a result, overwhelming positive numbers.
They love that.
Right, but they don't like the idea that he came in and he was so aggressive, he kind of pushed hard through the legislature, caused all these massive protests, or got the unions to react anyway with massive protests. And now, you know, we forget they got almost twice the number of signatures needed to have this recall today, which is an extraordinary event in American politics. I guess you and I would remember Gray Davis back in '03 in California, but this doesn't happen very often, Lou.
And a fellow by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger who benefited mightily.
He did.
In the style of leadership here, I'm not completely convinced that it would have mattered how deft and gentle Governor Walker was, because in removing so much of the collective bargaining powers of the union, which had been entrenched for decades,
still are.
There was going to be a mighty passionate response, and we're seeing exactly that.
Right. The question is, how do you negotiate away something that some people feel is a birthright and not, in fact, something that you gain as a matter of compromise and argument? Now, I will say this, that you have this as a national pattern. Obviously, we saw something like this with Governor Kasich in Ohio. We've seen similar steps taken.
Where he was rolled back.
He was rolled back. But you've seen similar steps now. Florida, Indiana. You see some of these efforts now taking place in a much milder way. Rick Snyder, the governor there, not getting this kind of pushback, but making similar efforts in Michigan. So there we see that this is a major item in terms of the national body politic and reducing deficits and the cost of state government. When you look at the economy today, private sector actually is having some growth. It's public sector, because of pensions and extreme contracts, that continues to drain workers.
And frankly, this recession that has turned into a jobless recovery has created far more pain, far longer than anyone really anticipated, all but the most pessimistic, unfortunately, and it will have implications, as you state so clearly, on the national. Well,
I think unions come out of this, if they lose, hurting. And I think if Walker wins, I think everybody who is energized on the Republican side will find new sources of money and new sources of organizing to bring to the table.
And it also will put those Democratic governors facing exactly these same tough circumstances, probably move many of them to the center as well.
Absolutely.
Juan, good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate your insight. Juan Williams.